Hey, yo, check up. Channel Colossus, episode 32. Hey, yo, I went to work today, and older gentleman that I come in and relieve, when I got to work, he was sitting in there watching a basketball game. And, I'm not even watching none of that nonsense with all that virtue signaling. So I'm not studying it, but I did want to look up and see what was going on with the names on the jerseys. And I looked up and I think it was the Grizzlies playing, and one of the jerseys said Justice Now. And I pointed that out, and the older gentleman who was watching the game, he was like, what's that? I said, yeah, they got messages on they jerseys now, fight the power messages. And he was like, what? I said, yeah, you don't see Black Lives Matter on the court? And I pointed it out to him. He was like, man, I didn't even notice that. And the cat that had Justice Now on his jersey, my man say, man, I thought that was that mofo name. Man, I fell out laughing, but my man said he thought my man name was Justice Now. Well, this where we at, huh? This where we at? All right, NBA.
They're just clobbering us in the head over and over again with the real world. And oh, by the way, it ain't just the real world. It's a left-wing version of the real world.
Then you got the commercials.
Yes.
Where they're choreographed, them preaching, and they're going to change the world, and they're going to fix it. And then you got the announcers that feel like at some point they have to address it and have to say something about a player and what he's doing for social injustice and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, Clay, something hilarious happened this weekend or showed up on my Twitter feed Sunday. Or maybe it was a buddy texted me. Kevin Garnett on NBA TV or TNT1 was doing some kind of Wheel of Fortune type game, and he had to read the words on the spinning wheel, and the word equivalent came up, and he could not pronounce. He couldn't read the word equivalent.
Okay. Might have a. See, I never know where it's gonna go. Okay, here we go. Kinda like naming NFL equivalent to each NBA player. Let me see this. NFL equivalent to each naming NFL equivalent to each.
I mean, it's hysterical. I think I texted
You did. You said it to me. Yes.
And it's politically incorrect to talk about it, but I can care less. I'm just sorry, and this is my overall point about these really tall, amazing athletes. Because if I were really tall and amazing athletes, I'm just telling you, I wouldn't have cared about school. I wouldn't have been a good student. I would have developed my talents physically and cashed in to the best of my ability. And that's my point with these athletes, LeBron James, any of them, they've been developing their physical skills their whole life because that's the smart thing to do. There's a big pot of gold if they can develop. These aren't rocket scientists. These aren't leaders of the free world. These are basketball players, not calling them stupid. They're making decisions that were best based off the physical gifts that God blessed them with. They hit the genetics lottery, and they did everything to cash in on it. But I'm just sorry. When I saw Kevin Garnett couldn't figure out the word equivalent, I was just like, and this is the guy that's going to help fix America. And I'm not talking about Kevin Garnett individually, but I'm like, this is the group of people that are going to fix America. People that struggle reading equivalent. I mean, listen, and I know that's not all of them. I used to be an athlete, but I just get it. If you got that much physical skill, develop it. That's the smart thing to do. But you're not a rocket scientist.
Rockets general manager Daryl Morey, whose tweet supporting anti-government protests in Hong Kong set off a firestorm between the country and the league.
I don't want to get into a feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke.
James not commenting about any political tension in the region, instead focusing on how Morey's comments damaged the NBA's relationship with the country.
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not here to judge how the league handled the situation. I just think that, when you're misinformed or you're not educated about something, and I'm just talking about, the tweet itself, you never know the ramifications that can happen. We all seen what that did. Not only did for our league, but for all of us in America, for people in China as well. And sometimes you have to think through things that you say that may cause harm, not only for yourself, but for the majority of people. And I think that's just a prime example of that. People could have been harmed, not only financially, but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do.
The backlash immediate, with even U.S. senators weighing in. Republican Ben Sasse of Nebraska tweeting, "You're parroting communist propaganda. China is running torture camps, and you know it." James taking to Twitter later in the day to offer a clarification, saying, "My team in this league just went through a difficult week. I think people need to understand what a tweet or statement can do to others. Could have waited a week to send it."
All right, well, check up then. Since the king made those statements, then he opens himself up for me to ask this statement. You know what I'm saying? An open letter. I'm going to ask this statement. What books, literature, magazines have the king read that shaped his mental, acumen, or his views about the world, politics, specifically Asia? What references can I go source that will help me understand the king's philosophy? And then you got cats, that's dogging the ratings, the low ratings of the NBA. You got cats out there, I guess, in the Twitter world that's dogging the NBA. So you got Mark Cuban, I guess he the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and he responding to cats on Twitter, so he getting in the little Twitter beats with cats, I mean, shit. But Mark Cuban be talking crazy anyway, but it's getting funky.
Mark Cuban is mad at me. Did you see Mark Cuban hop into my mentions today, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks? He was mad that I pointed out that Sean Hannity had, I believe it was 4.6 million viewers last night, Tuesday night, and that the highest rated NBA game, which featured, I believe, his Dallas Mavericks, or whoever the heck it was, only had 930,000 viewers. Sean Hannity is rising up and dunking all balls in the face style on the NBA. So is Tucker Carlson. So is Laura Ingraham. And all three of those shows on Tuesday night had more young viewers than the NBA did. The NBA likes to say, oh, all our viewers are young. That's why our league is so valuable. 18 to 49-year-olds. That's the youth. That's the measurement according to Showbuzz Daily. 18 to 49-year-olds watch Tucker, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham more than they watch the NBA. The NBA ratings, they're tanking. All right? The NBA can try to argue that they aren't, but if you compare the NBA ratings with every other sport that has come back, they have collapsed. And it's because they've gone full-bore political. And Mark Cuban, I got to say this, Mark Cuban can come and argue with me about ratings, but I asked him, I said, hey, Mark, you got any opinion on Hong Kong democracy? You got any opinion on Chinese concentration camps? You got any opinion on taking billions of dollars from modern-day Nazis while pretending to be all about social justice in your league? The hypocrisies are mind-blowing, okay? And the NBA is the most hypocritical league probably in the history of American sports in the 21st century. And the reason why people are tuning out is because the American public in general is not stupid. They see this hypocrisy and they've pieced out on the NBA. On top of that, the NBA continues. Mark Cuban won't say a word about China because he's afraid of upsetting Chairman Z and ending up with a lot less money in his pockets
and how their TV rankings have pretty much plummeted since the woke genuflecting that has plagued their season opener. Surprise, surprise, surprise to no one, like I always say, the trend continues. Their ratings are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And the best thing, at least if you want to put things into perspective, contrast, and compare, they're getting beat out by all of the sports that refuse to pander to the woke crowd.